What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. This is a wild story. Proof that these corporations simply are just making too much money. If they were worried about, being profitable and, delivering a return to their shareholders, they wouldn't have time for all this nonsense. Now, Google has long banned certain words. In fact, there's a list that's been around that's gone around about almost 2,000 words on it that Google has banned. But now there's a brand new ban coming down, and some of the words on this list are absolutely insane. See, this is where it starts, right? It starts at Google, then it's going to go filter down to their search engine, and then it's going to filter down to YouTube. This is why alt tech or new tech, places like Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey, alternative platforms, even Twitter, I guess nowadays, are becoming increasingly more interesting to creators who don't want to be censored. And the thing is, like, you can understand maybe some things here and there, but the reality is these words are insane. Like the list makes no sense whatsoever. Let's take a look. Woke Google bosses ban staff from using terms including man hours, you guys, blacklist, and chubby in inclusive language dossier. Other banned words include and phrases include the word crazy and mad. Google bosses have asked staff to stop using common phrases, including man hours and you guys, it's been reported. The U.S. tech giant sent out a new inclusive language dossier, which includes changes to language. Several phrases targeted by Google chiefs include whitelist, black hole. That is a scientific name for it, by the way. So what would you actually call a black hole then, if you're referring to one? What if, I don't really understand what exactly the issue is. Black hole is an actual name. Blacklist, also an actual word, right? Black box. This is, what will they say? How will you talk about the plane recordings, the audio recordings that planes have? As well as chubby, also banned. To refrain from describing people or things as crazy, bonkers, or mad. Of course, the changes are being referred to as woke nonsense, telling the Sun that I don't know where people find the time to come up with this sort of thing. Who cares? We should not be ditching phrases and words used for a generation just because some snowflakes might get impacted. Meanwhile, a Google employee told the newspaper that staff had ignored the guide and focused on getting on with their jobs. Now, this is absolutely amazing. Even the staff is mocking this. In a world where we're having, massive tech layoffs because they've been bloated for years, paying people enormous amounts of money to do nothing, now the layoffs are coming. I'm pretty sure people are a little more concerned with getting their jobs done. Quote, they revealed, we're much too busy to be worried about whether some totally harmless phrase that's been used for years might upset someone somewhere. Shout out to that Google employee. Google has said that its dossier only provided editorial guidelines for writing clear and concise Google-related developer documentation. Mail Online has reached out to Google, of course, with no reply. It's not the first time the search engine has lurched into wokery either. Last year, Google launched an inclusive language function designed to avoid the use of politically incorrect words. Users typing, quote, landlord will see a warning that it may not be inclusive to all readers, with suggestion they try property owner or proprietor. But that doesn't, if you're a property owner, that doesn't necessarily mean you rent the property. And if you're referring to the person that you pay your money to, why would you be paying money to somebody if they weren't renting it to you, if they weren't a landlord? The word humankind was also suggested as an alternative to what online giant apparently sees as controversial term, mankind. Gender-specific terms such as policeman, housewife were also replaced by police officers and stay-at-home spouse, according to the new Google document style program. I mean, this is, obviously some of the most insane. You can't use dummy variable in coding. The list is so insane. I don't even really understand how you have time. And then you see this. This is back, to in April of 2022. The text police. And the thing that's nefarious about this is that it is trying to change the words that you use because of its suggestions. Google suggestions for alternatives to landlord include property owner or proprietor. So when you start to use the search engine, it may try to replace it. People called it deeply intrusive, adding Google is not only reading every word you type, but telling you what to type. Remember that Google also owns Android phones, right? The speech policing is profoundly clumsy, creepy, and wrong, often reinforcing bias. Invasive tech like this undermines privacy, freedom of expression, and increasingly freedom of thought. The Google Docs program, which includes the new warnings function, is initially being rolled out to certain business users and is turned on by default. Google said, quote, "Our technology is always improving, and we don't yet have a solution for identifying and mitigating all, quote, unwanted word associations and biases." This is, by the way, only the beginning. There is a list. If you go back to this, Google's always been this way. You couldn't even say preggers, like somebody who's pregnant. I'm preggers, banned. The latest version of Android contains a baffling list of more than 1,400 English words that Google has quietly deemed inappropriate. Here's a look at some of the more bizarre examples. I mean, this is like, it'd be one thing if you say, hey, we should try to use this language or whatever like that. The latest swipe of the word on the latest Android's Google keyboard, for those that matter, intercourse, coitus, hooking up, and that giant web's predictive algorithm will offer no help. These are just a few examples from an obsessive and often baffling list of more than 1,400 English words that Google has quietly deemed inappropriate for Android users. They're all part of a strange 165,000 word dictionary that appears in the source code of KitKat, the latest Android operating system. The BANS dictionary includes words like geek, all 7 of George Carlin's dirty words, a frat party's worth of phobia and misogyny, and is peppered in with all sorts of other stuff. Of course, the filter can be disabled in Google's keyboard settings, but again, as usual, it's enabled by default. I mean, here you can see the full list. Obviously, curse words, insults, offensive words, dirty words, naughty words, mischievous or generally misbehaving, particularly applied to kids, inappropriate words. I mean, YouTube also has a blacklist, by the way. YouTube comment blacklist can help you avoid filter words. I mean, this is managing, creating your own blacklist. People often ask me, hey, do you ban comments? No, I don't. But for some reason, Google sometimes filters stuff out. Here you have, this is a long history. Google algorithm goes woke. Google has launched a new campaign called Buy Black that encourages people to shop based on the race of the store owner. Stores and search and map results will give icons indicating the race of the owner to make this easier. I mean, this is stuff that Google has done for years and years and years and years and years. And I mean, it's not really that surprising. Android is a heavily censored platform. And again, it'd be one thing to talk about, hey, there's certain words that, we're not going to help you spell correct or something like that. But when you're actively saying, actually, you should maybe choose a different word than this, it's only the beginning, which is why it was so sad to see DuckDuckGo kind of give up there's still not a great alternative to search engines out there. I guess maybe let me know in the comment section down below if there's one that you like. But these changes, are all part of the kind of the secret coded language that you have to use on big tech, Google, YouTube, other platforms. And there's really no rhyme or reason to most of it. And they're wildly inconsistent in their own enforcement of it. So it's totally nuts. But this is the way it's going. So that's why Twitter, being owned by Elon is important. That's why Rumble's important. BitChute, Odyssey, all these alternative tech or new tech platforms are so important. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it, and we'll talk to you again real soon.